Word was sent around the men to remain hushed. Once there was no noise among the army, but for the wind through the trees above them, they could just about make out the thudding of feet on the road. Cao Cao's column was approaching the site of the ambush. "No word from Chuo Xuan," Guan Yu noted. "We must be careful." "We don't need those weaklings from Tao Chen," Zhang Fei said. "I have faith in your skills, brother," Liu Bei said. But still, he agreed to march when we gave him the signal. Now battle is upon us, and he shall have to stake his life on answers to my questions when this is done. "So be it, brother. The corrupt are high and low," Guan Yu reminded him. Liu Bei nodded and dispatched his brothers to wait along the tree line with the soldiers. As the absent Chuo Xuan had predicted, Cao Cao's army was taking a route that would bring them right underneath the wooded copse Liu's force was concealed in. The thudding march grew louder, and the front ranks of the column began to pass, with Cao Cao himself, adorned in what appeared to be imperial court robes, sitting at the front. Cao seemed to slow down a little and look around. There was a smoke signal on a hill further down the road. It was nothing Liu Bei had arranged for, and seeing it prompted Cao Cao to halt the column and draw his sword. It was now or never. A deafening chorus of horns rang out from the woods, and Liu Bei's men sprang from cover, brandishing swords, spears and bows. Zhang Fei and Guan Yu burst into the center of the column, where Cao Cao's top general, Xiahou Dun, was riding beside another officer. Xiahou Dun motioned for his companion to flee, while he himself rode to challenge Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. "Get the other one, brother!" Guan Yu called. He struck out with a mighty sweep of the green dragon saber, and Xiahou Dun tumbled from his horse. The other officer, in light armor, saw Liu troops all around and hesitated for too long. Zhang Fei caught up, and a duel commenced. Battle raged up and down the column, with Liu's men having surprise on their side, but not the wealth of experience their foe could count on. Cao Cao directed his troops into close order and told them they would win. They believed their general without second thought, and none fled the scene. Zhang Fei roared, and his serpent spear cut cleanly through the neck of his skinny opponent. He picked the head up and was about to place it on the tip of his spear, but was taken aback when he removed the helmet. This draining, limp face was that of a woman. Enraged that he had been deceived, he turned back and called out to Xiahou Dun. "Scandalous mongrel! You place some woman under an officer's clothes?" Xiahou Dun parried away a blow from Guan Yu. Guan Yu halted, nodding to Xiahou Dun and giving him time to make an answer. However, the sight of the head Zhang Fei wielded had Xiahou Dun speechless. "Lady Bian, I have failed," he said, dropping to his knees. Then he looked over to Guan Yu. "Kill me, General Guan. I don't deserve to die at hands as lauded as yours, yet I ask for this one indulgence." "I would grant any indulgence to one who fights as well as you, but if you will not stand, I will not act," Guan Yu said. "Your brother has slain Lady Bian, who I swore to protect with my life. I cannot bear to face Lord Cao, even to receive my punishment. Kill me now!" Guan Yu shook his head and joined Zhang Fei in a venture into the chaos of battle around them. Xiahou Dun, with tears forming, cried out, drew a short dagger and thrust it into his own eye. Without delay he pulled dagger and eye both out and hurriedly placed them beside Lady Bian's body. With that, he mounted the lady's horse and rode on to the front of the column, towards Cao Cao. Guan Yu and Zhang Fei were cutting apart Cao's ranks all around them, yet they had scarce few allied troops left. Liu Bei was close by, surrounded by enemies also. "Where is that traitor Chuo Xuan?" Zhang Fei called. There was still no sign of him. "Brother, we must end this battle at once," Guan Yu said. He pointed up the road, where Cao Cao was visible among a melee of horsemen. "About time. Leave this to me, brother. I can't leave with only some woman's head." Zhang Fei stomped up the gentle hill to challenge Cao Cao to battle. Cao's blade was covered in blood from the fighting, but his dress was undisturbed. "Traitor Cao, is this all you have for me?" Zhang Fei called, holding up his prize head. Cao Cao's face went purple, and then he thundered out with sword raised. "You shameless brigand! You cursed monster! Even your head will not be enough to fulfill my vow to Lady Bian!" he shouted. For a man wearing formal clothing, his skill at arms was surprising. Caring not for his lack of armour, he slashed and kicked at Zhang Fei without relent, tears pinging on his golden girdle as they fell from his eyes. Zhang Fei was unable to withstand the onslaught, and finally he stumbled, letting the point of Cao's sword into his stomach. "Brother!" Guan Yu shouted from behind him. He had been rushing up to aid Zhang Fei, and now challenged Cao to combat. Cao grabbed Lady Bian's head, then charged without comment. He knocked Guan Yu aside with a sweeping blow, and then rode on towards the carpet of bodies at the column's center. "Brother Zhang, what happened?" Guan Yu asked as he reached Zhang Fei's side. "He tricked me with his clothes, just like that woman. Deceit from start to finish," Zhang Fei grumbled. There were horns, and from the tree line more troops appeared. It was Chu Xuan, leading 1,000 troops from Pengcheng. The remnants of Cao's army finally scattered, and the battle was won. Cao, with Lady Bian's body across his horse, was speeding away into the woods. Zhang Fei was seen to by local doctors and was on his feet again within days. The same cannot be said of some 1,000 of Liu Bei's troops who had died in the battle or in the days following it. The fighting had taken a brutal toll and still left the animosity between Liu Bei and Cao unresolved. That was why the army was soon on the move again, heading towards Cao Cao's new camp in Yangzhou Commandery. Now mostly relying on Tao Qian's men, Liu Bei had Chu Xuan at his side. "Lady Bian was Cao Cao's wife," the strategist explained. "If we strike at once while he is still in mourning, then victory will be guaranteed." "As guaranteed as it was last time," Zhang Fei growled. "The messenger responsible for the delay has been executed. This will ensure it does not happen again," was Chu Xuan's excuse. "Would it not be an affront to attack Lord Cao before the period of mourning is over?" Liu Bei asked. "Nonsense! If he expects we will not attack him, then we must. This is the basic essence of strategy," Chu Xuan said. "Brother, this mourning affair was Cao Cao's own doing," Guan Yu said. "Why did he hide his own wife in among the troops? Such an unusual act cannot be accounted for in the weighing of right and wrong roads. Cao's own disregard for the proper treatment of a noblewoman voids his right to mourn in peace. And if it was a deliberate ploy, then we must hurry to avenge Lady Bian as soon as possible." This settled any doubt, and Liu Bei took his army to challenge Cao to battle once again. Cao's army formed up outside their camp the next morning, and Liu arranged his lines opposite them. Guan Yu and Zhang Fei led the flanks, leaving Liu Bei in the center with Chu Xuan. Xiahou Dun appeared from among the Cao banners and called out for Liu Bei himself to fight. Liu Bei seemed unsure, but Chu Xuan said to him, "This warrior is renowned, however he is only here because Cao wishes to punish his failure. He must be unable to fight on account of his wounds. Cao hopes that you will refuse based on his reputation alone, and thus set a poor example to the men. If you seek victory, simply strike him down, and Cao will realize you've seen through his trick and flee." This advice spurred Liu Bei to go out and fight. "You're a good man, Governor Liu," Xiahou Dun said. "However, if I cannot take your head to satisfy the despair of my lord, then I need not live on any further. Let us fight without second thoughts." Unfortunately for Liu Bei, Xiahou Dun was not at all weakened by his wounds. Liu had to give everything he had just to keep Xiahou Dun's spear at bay, and his breath soon grew short. With Guan Yu and Zhang Fei facing enemies on the flanks, he had no choice but to flee. Xiahou Dun was enraged and looked around for a horse. Before he found one, a Liu horseman appeared and spirited Liu Bei from the field. Having failed his lord for a second time, Xiahou Dun just stood there, paying no heed to the growing battle as the two armies clashed en masse around him. Some of Liu's troops got close and tried to strike at him. Xiahou Dun's spear cut them down as easily as it sailed through open air. Nearby, Cao had joined the charge and was in among Liu Bei's lines. Zhang Fei was galloping from the left flank to avenge himself of his embarrassment, but before he arrived, Cao came upon Chu Xuan. "You villain!" Cao Cao called. "It was because of your schemes that Lady Bian was killed. Liu Bei has fled like a rat, so your head will have to do me for today." Before Chuishuan could protest, Cao Cao's gilded sword cleaved through his robes and threw him to the ground. The strategist's head remained untaken, however, as a roaring Zhang Fei spooked Cao Cao back to his own lines. The sight of Cao running inspired many of his men to do the same, and with the combined valour of Zhang Fei and Guan Yu bearing down on them, the army as a whole was soon put to flight. That is, but for a single warrior, still standing in the middle of the battlefield. It was Xiahou Dun, surrounded by a pile of Liu's soldiers. Arrows hissed down at him, but he used his spear to swat them away, or merely let them clank off his armour. A company of sword-wielding troops charged the general, but he was like a breakwater. Men fell left and right, and Xiahou Dun remained unmoved. "Brother, that Xiahou Dun has a death wish. Let me kill him. Cao Cao ran from me," Zhang Fei said. "He is not to be taken lightly," Guan Yu said. "He's been abandoned by his lord and seeks an honourable escape from his suffering. He is a man worthy of serving the Han. Let's try to bring him to elder brother alive. We can kill him then, if we must." Guan Yu and Zhang Fei circled Xiahou Dun and called for him to throw down his weapon. "I will accept death from either of you," he said, "yet I will also accept your heads. Let these weapons clash so that heaven can decide who will be the last to fall on this battlefield." With this, Xiahou Dun started swiping at the mounted brothers. The blows were easily beaten away. Guan Yu saw a chance, and with a mighty heave he caught the end of Xiahou Dun's spear on his sabre, and the metal tip was torn off. Then Zhang Fei jumped down and used his bearish strength to wrestle the shaft from Xiahou Dun's hand, taking a barrage of kicks and punches as he did. Guan Yu called up some men carrying ropes, and with the two horses they quickly wrapped the general up faster than he could bite and claw the binds away. At last he slumped over, cursed the heavens for his fate, and went limp. Back in the camp, Xiahou Dun was placed before a recovering Liu Bei, now with only his hands bound. "You only extend my failure by keeping me alive, General Liu," Xiahou Dun said. "That is not sure. What is failure and what is success if not determined by men, but by the traditions of good practice and heavenly fealty? To die in service of a man like Cao Cao cannot be considered success, and to live in service of the emperor cannot be considered failure." Xiahou Dun smiled as Liu Bei ended his recital. "You wish to say that if I serve you instead, I will make my prior mistakes into favours. Those thoughts come cheap and mean nothing. Why say this? I'm expelling corrupt officials from this land and restoring the peace of the Eternal Han. What person could say that doing this is merely a cheap thought? Let me give you an example. You drove the corrupt officials from Langye and Donglai and took the power of their offices for yourself. Thus you protect those beneath the auspices of each from the tyranny of those above. So you say. Another man did that, if you remember. He killed the eunuchs that brought the empire to the brink of collapse and took up their powers himself, unable to trust anyone with such tainted office. Then he used his power to restore order and protect the emperor. His name is Dong Zhuo, and your proclamations against him hang on the same walls as your claims to be governor of Shu, magistrate of Langye, chief prefect of Donglai, and now the imperial inspector of Yan. At least Dong Zhuo contents himself to use his powers to live in leisure. He does not use it to conquer and kill his neighbours. Further to this, do you recall who tried to kill Dong Zhuo with his own hands and has been harried and betrayed by the court because of it? Cavalry Commander Cao Cao was his name. Now you call him traitor too. So, Lord Liu Bei, in the light of all this, and in the midst of all these so-called traitors, how is it meaningful for you to claim that forsaking Cao Cao and bowing to you is anything more than common treachery? Liu Bei was left speechless, and Xiahou Dun began to laugh. Please, my lord, please do not take these words too seriously, Xiahou Dun said. I admonish you for my own sake. After all, you have pledged to slay the traitor Dong, the man who killed my uncle in the imperial court. Is that not enough? If you'll use me, I'll kill him for you, just as I would kill him for General Cao. But know that following you is no better to me than following him. I can serve the Emperor either way, and with heaven bringing me here despite my disgrace, I see that I must serve. After all that, Xiahou Dun agreed to go to Donghai as a hostage, unbound and supplied with fresh clothes. Xiahou Dun's words had Liu Bei on edge, angry that he did not have an easy response to those arguments. Even Zhang Fei and Guan Yu could not cheer him up, and his moping carried on for several days. Then a visitor was announced in the camp. The name was Zhao Yun, and upon hearing this, Liu Bei leapt to his feet and rushed to meet him, dressed only in his night clothes. Who was this Zhao Yun? Read on.